Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the podcast. I hope you're well, despite the fact that in the UK we've had snow. What is even that about in March? Anyways, my guest this week is somewhere much sunnier. I'm going to be chatting to Anastasia Forrest, who was one of our sober coaches, trained with us as a sober coach. She's got just such a lovely story on her journey to self-discovery. So I'm going to be bringing you that very soon. And also got some info about a few events and stuff that we have coming up. I also, I'm still buzzing because I went to the most fantastic talk last night. And some of you may know that, it was goodness knows how many years ago, almost not far off 17 years ago, that I wrote my first book, Imperfectly Natural Woman. And I often joke that I was, ahead of my time talking about coconut oil and kale before they had their own publicity experts. I've been into this kind of thing of holistic living in all its aspects for so many years. And one of the gurus, if you like, that I mentioned in that book all these years ago, and one of the wellness centres that I talked about was Hippocrates, and Brian Clement, who has been one of the sort of managers, CEOs, whatever you want to call it, of Hippocrates in the States for I think 50 years or something incredible, certainly 50 years they've been going, and I think Brian and his wife have been there for an awful lot of years. The most incredible place. A lot of celebs have been there, and they've helped many people cure from disease, and many people get well, and it is an amazing place. But it was just so great. It's the first time I'd ever met Brian Clement, and so he's in the UK because he has a book called The Self-Healing Diet, and so I've done an interview with him, so I'm looking forward to bringing you that soon. But it was just so great to be in that energy again of meeting someone and getting to hear someone speak who is so across so many different aspects of holistic health and well-being. Just another reminder of the huge importance of the link, the mind-body connection, the link between our mind and our body, and as Brian says on the interview, which I'll bring you, in a couple of weeks. When he first started working at Hippocrates Wellness Centre, he was, sort of PhD in nutrition and all of that. So went in absolutely convinced that just by putting in the good nutrition, everything would be okay. But of course, over time, you realise that there's so much more than that. It really is how the mind works with the body as well. So it was fascinating, and it's a great book. I'll put the link to it in the show notes, and I'll bring you that interview in due course. But today, actually, following on from that lovely theme of holistic living and stuff that supports our health and well-being, we've teamed up with the Herbtender, and I came across this brand a little while ago when I was trying to look at for supplements that, didn't have a lot of nasties in them and a lot of fillers, and something that was based around adaptogens, and that's exactly this brand, the Herbtender. So they've got this fabulous range of wellness supplements that are formulated with adaptogens, which, as you know, are just super powerful for helping us kind of manage our life and our stress and all of this stuff, whatever that stress is, whether it's physical or mental or environmental, whatever that stress is going down. Most of us spend so much of our time in that fight or flight mode. We're kind of always ready to be angry, or we're always ready to run. And actually, we need to be able to recalibrate in times of stress. And adaptogens are really intelligent herbs and mushrooms that can help to normalise our internal systems. And this is what the Herbtender have harnessed the power of. They literally harnessed the power of these adaptogens, so we can help to regulate our physiological function and restore some of that metabolic balance. And I really love this brand because the products, the formulations are crafted by medical herbalists, and really importantly, they don't have any rubbish in them. There's no binders, there's no fillers, there's no sweeteners. They're made in the UK and they're gluten-free, if that's important for you too, and they're vegan, and they tick the eco box. They're recycled cardboard and refillable glass jars. They've got little compostable pouches. So they've really thought everything through. So it's such a nice brand. And there's 3 products to tell you about. So there's Doze and Dream, which is the tranquil adaptogen blend that helps to promote rest, obviously, when we can recharge. And then there's the Rise and Shine, which supports energy levels and focus and immunity. And then there's Perform and Recover, which is endurance enhancing. So that's great if you're going to be going off to the gym, or you want to give yourself some mojo before you go off and do something. So you'll find them all at theherbtender.com, and we've got a competition as well to win some. So I'll give you more info about that as soon as that competition is up. But if you go to the show notes, you'll find all of that info for the Herb Tender and a link to that competition as soon as we've got that one rocking. Just before we go into our interview with Anastasia, I also meant to say to you that I don't know if you saw that that stuff in the press this week. I actually couldn't believe it. I mean, I really thought I'd seen it all when it comes to, news articles that bring us total BS around alcohol. I thought I'd seen it all. But this week, even I was taken aback because a piece came out that was originally from the journal, where was it? The journal Cell Metabolism. This study was first published, and it was an article in the Mail and on the Mail Online, and it's all about a shot. They're calling it the sober shot, a hormone injection, which scientists have developed. And the reason they've developed this hormone injection is because apparently it can halve the time that it takes you to sober up. Halve the time it takes you to snap out of your drunken stupor were some of the words they used. So this hormone injection it's a fibroblast growth factor, apparently, is the technical term, 21. So FGF21, which is produced in the livers of people and in animals. And it's shown to halve the time that it takes to recover from the effects of alcohol. So they did these studies in mice. Beautiful for the mice, right? And they give them ethanol, give an additional dose of this hormone, which apparently halves the time it takes for you to recover. I mean, seriously, really, what the actual... I mean, I've got a really great idea for you. How about not drinking poison in the first place? How about that? I mean, how much money and time did scientists spend on this research? Just how much? And what would be the point? It's literally ridiculous. I cannot get my head around this. Even when I was drinking, I swear, even when I was drinking, even I would have known that this was bonkers. Seriously. In fact, it might have even had the reverse effect on me, possibly. It might have even shocked me into thinking, what? So I'm going to carry on doing this incredibly harmful, stupid thing, which gives zero benefits and is literally poisoning me. Oh, but if I take a hormone injection, then I'll be able to sober up more quickly. Really? Like, really? When we shine a spotlight on how ridiculous this is, it's incredible. And actually, further down in the piece, there's actually a kind of breakout box on the article that says, "No amount of alcohol is safe," warned the World Health Organization. That's exactly right. You got that piece right, at least. Incredible, isn't it? It also says, on a sobering note, the findings come amid a spike in deaths involving alcohol during the pandemic, where alcohol-related deaths jumped more than 25% between 2019 and 2020. Just unreal. But, we've got the answer. How about not drinking? How about recognizing that life is so much better without any? It's not about sobering up quicker. It's not about trying to just have one. It's about recognizing that you can live a life you don't have to escape from, right? Well, I'm just absolutely thrilled that my guest is Anastasia Forrest, who is one of my amazing sober coaches. And Anastasia, you came over all the way from the States to the UK, and we were so impressed.
Now, I took 3 planes to get there and it was completely 100% worth it.
So I thought it'd be lovely to chat to you about your work and also your book, The 30-Day Sobriety Experiment, A Journey of Self-Discovery. But you're also a musician. I'd love to talk a bit about that. But you also have a real job, actually. We should mention that as well. So where shall we start? Take us back in time. Tell us a little bit about your kind of background, and then let's get into some of the stuff you're doing now.
Absolutely. Happy to. I'm based in St. Augustine, Florida. So I'm in the United States, in the southeast quadrant, if you will. And basically, yeah, I'm a mom. I have 2 kids, an awesome husband. I got into real estate because my husband is a general contractor. He builds houses and does renovations and things like that. So got into real estate after my second baby was born, and he and I met through music, so that we have that connection as well. We love music. We have a music room. We have guitars on the wall and our piano, and I have violins hanging. I love to try all kinds of instruments.
How would you describe your music?
Yeah. Acoustic, singer-songwriter, reflective, meditative, spiritual music, I suppose. Yeah, cool. It's not an easy category to find, when you're trying to, pick a genre, but it's my heart. My music is my heart,
Yeah. Cool. So sorry, I interrupted you really. You were telling us, just tell us a little bit more about how you kind of, what was your path to sobriety then? What was going on for you before you had that revelation?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, and you and I know we share this this origin of music and being in the music world to different degrees. Of course, you were touring with professional famous musicians. I never did that, but all the same, I grew up singing in bars and restaurants, and alcohol from the time I was 14, 15, 16, I saw people drinking around me often. It was something that I was exposed to over and over. And of course, people inevitably push things on you and you get curious about things. So I was very curious. I wanted to try everything. I'm a curious person, which is also a strength when it comes to sobriety. But as far as my path to sobriety, it was a long journey. There were different points in my life where I was drinking too much, and I was aware I was drinking too much. But I'd pop into an AA meeting. It didn't feel right to me. And I just never hit that rock bottom where it was so bad that I had to quit. It was something that I was able to kind of, maybe I got to cut out liquor. Okay. No more liquor. That's okay. I'll just drink lots of wine. I kept it with me as long as I could until 2020. A time at which many people, from what I understand, were drinking more than usual, evident in the alcohol sales and the things we're seeing online. But of course, in my life, it just became really obvious to me that I was like, wow, this is a big part of our life. Like me and my husband, I mean, we rely so much on alcohol for our bond together and just for our, just to have fun and stuff. And I realized I'm like, this isn't really fun for me anymore. I tend to overdo it. And then the next day I feel horrible. And then it takes me 2 or 3 days to feel like myself again. I think it's depressing me. And I also was like, I'm a cancer survivor. Why am I doing this to myself?
Oh, really? Tell us about that as well. So you'd had cancer some years ago, yeah?
I did. Yeah. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2009. It was ironically enough, probably at the height of my drinking. I was probably drinking more than ever as far as per week and per session and stuff like that. At the time I was diagnosed, and I had a 17 centimeter mediastinal tumor when they found it. I'm sorry, I'm using like medical language, but basically inside my rib cage, I had a large tumor that had been there for quite some time. I had known things weren't quite right. I didn't know what it was. I think partly I was drinking because I was scared. and the
Yeah.
doctors really
I
couldn't
mean, I
figure
know
out.
you and I
Yeah.
have kind of have had this conversation, haven't we, about how utterly kind of incongruent it is that something like that happens to you, and even often the medical professionals around you are actually encouraging you to drink.
Yeah.
What a
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Oh, during
Just
my,
yeah.
of course, during chemo, I was when I found out I had cancer, I was like, oh, I'm so heartbroken because I feel like I think I was really sad. And in
Yeah.
general, just in life, just kind of disappointed in the way my life was going. And I was like, oh, but drinking is the one thing that makes me feel happy, or just the whole illusion around it. Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did ask my oncologist, can I have some wine, or can I, during chemo? He's like, yeah, after your first few days of chemo, sure.
Wow.
And so I did. I drank during, chemotherapy here and there. I don't think I was already feeling, because you already feel sick. So you don't want to necessarily, you're not as inclined to overdo it with alcohol. But in any case, um, I am so grateful for my health.
Yeah.
I got into remission after 6 months of chemo, and then I did some radiation, and thankfully, thank God, very grateful to be healthy today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That
So,
gratitude piece is just amazing, isn't it? That
oh yeah.
just incredible sense of freedom that, that we, at least, none of us know what's going to happen to us sort of health wise, but at least we're doing the bits we can, right?
Yeah.
There's just amazing beauty in just let's at least support ourselves the best we can. Yeah, I think that's amazing. So really it was kind of the whole lockdown thing that did it for you. And was it difficult for you at the beginning? I mean, I know you said you hadn't hit rock bottom, so how difficult was it? And what about that whole thing of the fact that you'd seen it as your sort of social thing, you're bonding with your husband, presumably with friends? How difficult was it for you to start with?
Um, it was hard. I'd been reading books here or there. I was sober curious for a while,
Mm,
and I had read a book, and I had done the month, and I had done like short bits, like short breaks in the past, like a month and stuff like that. At this time, what made it was difficult because it was sort of going out on my own. People around me didn't quite get it because I seemed so put together. I didn't seem like a typical person that's just like has this big alcohol problem. So
yeah.
there was some skepticism. Like, we had been planning to go to Napa for my next birthday, if the pandemic hadn't happened, and drink wine. So this is kind of like, what? This is what? But I actually did tune into AA meetings. That group element was so important because my husband was still drinking. It was still in the house. It was still around me. And I had I'd cook dinner, and I'd miss having that glass of wine. That
Mm,
was like a little bit of a companion, a little bit of joy I was getting from that, I thought.
yeah.
But I was able to replace that with, I did meetings. I would get on the Zoom meetings with these other women who were sober and connect with them, share how I was feeling. Um, and just having knowing that I wasn't the only one doing it made a big difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So then when did the book come about? Then tell us a little bit about the book and when you decided to write that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sure. So during the time of during those early months, I was writing. I would write, I had an anonymous blog, and I would write my anonymous blog about my sobriety journey. I've always loved expressing myself through writing. Like, as a musician, even before I played music, I was writing poems and stuff like that. And so I would also share every once in a while. I wasn't just anonymous. I'd share on social media. I feel like, you know what, I want to tell people what I'm doing. Whatever. I'm feeling great. And I'm feeling so good. I want people to know, not just because I want to tell them about me, but I want them to know that maybe this could be for them too.
Mm,
If they have a similar addiction or connection or attachment to alcohol. And so I think it was like the new year of maybe 2021, the new year, I posted an image of myself when I had a number of drinks, and that was during COVID, and then a picture of myself that day, like that day and time. And I mean, it's just amazing. It's not like like I said, I wasn't rock bottom, but you can totally see the difference. My eyes were clearer. My face was like more less swollen, and I'm glowing. It's just different. It's a different vibe. It's a
The
different
sober
energy.
glow.
Yes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really it is. And I had listed, look, these are the changes I've seen since I quit drinking. And a friend of mine from the past reached out to me through, Messenger, one of the messengers. I think I was on LinkedIn. And he said, your post really inspired me. He's like, I feel like I need to reevaluate my relationship with alcohol, but I am so turned off by AA and the different things. None of it appeals to me, but I like your approach. You need to write a book. You need to create something for people like me. And he's a rebel. I think it's that rebel spirit. It's like, we want to do things our own way. We want to see it for ourselves. And so I think I started writing the book right after that. And I told myself, look, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just speak to someone like that, that person that just reached out.
Yeah. Great. I think that's just one of the things that's just so amazing is that's when we kind of get the energy, isn't it? When we've ditched the booze, we just have that much more of a sense of energy, and we feel more brave. And so, I mean, I don't know whether it's true for you, but I've heard a lot of people say, I would never have actually taken the step. I might have thought about writing a book, or I might have thought about traveling or starting a business or doing a charity or whatever it is for them, but I wouldn't have actually done it. I just would have kept putting it off and procrastinating. And when we ditch the booze, we can finally kind of harness that brave part of us and do the thing that we've always wanted to do.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And there's something about, I always have trouble, not always, there I am saying an always statement. I tend to have trouble finishing things. And that's been a pattern in my younger life, especially. I'd start a project and I would abandon it, start it and abandon it. And now that I am sober, I just can't. I can look at the project and be like, look, I can do this. I can finish it. I started it. I know how good it's going to feel to see it through. Let me see this through.
Fantastic. I love it. So the book is the 30-day sobriety experiment, a journey of self-discovery. Just tell us what we get in the book then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it's set up as a 30-day journey. And in the very beginning of the book, I have a well-being questionnaire that I created that looks at some major areas of your life, and they have to do with your health, your relationships with yourself and with others, and just your state of mind, your well-being, mental, physical. And so it's a simple chart, and it's just a way to take some data and have like a baseline. So when you start your experiment, this 30-day sobriety experiment, you see where you're at. And then the idea is I go through different, stages. I start out with some meditation practices, like mindfulness practices, 3 simple ones. So the first 3 days are just mindfulness practices, because I figure if you're starting this journey, you're going to need some tools right away. And I think the seeing is freeing. So the more we can see what our mind is doing and the attachment that we've created, like this pattern we've created, the more we can kind of extricate ourselves from it. Yeah. So I start out with the mindfulness piece. I give them day 4 is like mocktails. And we start really putting into place these other behaviors that we can do instead of drink. And then the next part of the book gets more into, the next parts go into more deep kind of things like, maybe our resentments, triggers, things like that. And basically just take them on this 30-day journey where they discover themselves. It's not about recovery. It's about discovery. It's about discovering who you are. Who are you without alcohol?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as we've said so many times, it's about so much more than not drinking. We've got to lay that foundation piece, right? But after that, it's the everything else.
Right. And then at the end, actually each week I encourage them to do a well-being assessment and assess themselves so they can compare. And then at the end they can see, what's gotten better, what's maybe something got worse. Maybe their sleep got worse for a while and then it got better. Yeah. It's a way to like look at it objectively. So it's taking it like as an experiment, a literal experiment,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, completely. Yeah. Fantastic. And, so I know that as well, you like me are very into the kind of spiritual aspects of stuff. And I saw a post you'd written or a newsletter you'd written about chakras. And, that's an area that really interests me. So how does that sort of fit in with the work that you do then kind of, looking at the whole spiritual dimension?
Oh, I love this question. I love this question. I'm glad you didn't prepare me for this too. So I just go off the cuff. Well, let's see here. Well, for me, I know I can speak from me as a creative, and you're a creative too, right? So that second chakra, the Svadhisthana, I believe it's pronounced, it's associated with creativity. So, and that's basically our like pelvic region, right? Like between the stomach and the root, which would be at the bottom of our spine. It's in between there somewhere. So that area, I mean, I'm super active that way creatively. I feel like I don't have to look far to feel inspired. I feel that creative well coming up pretty much all the time. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it calls me to create songs and write and paint and all this stuff. But also, this area is also commonly associated with addiction. So there's this idea in chakra theory that our chakras can be imbalanced, and that too much of something is not good. So basically, imbalance in that area is associated with addiction. And that makes a lot of sense to me, because not only could I get addicted to alcohol, which I easily did. And I mean, I just now I've found that moderation really isn't an option for me, or one that makes sense for me. But I'm that way with writing. I can be that way with writing too. I can be that way with painting. So it's really interesting to sort of see the correlations between the growth we can do in each area. And for somebody else, and heart's another big one. Like I said, I had that physical manifestation of maybe a block, which was the tumor. I mean, I wouldn't go, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but when I think, well, that's odd, like to have that be right there. And I was going through a lot with my heart emotionally with my past and, processing all this stuff. And maybe somebody drinks to sort of feel that love. So if you're thinking in the language of chakras or the philosophy of chakras, you could always see, well, what am I trying to fill? Where am I imbalanced in here? And also that drinking also is that craving for ecstasy, to be outside of ourselves, which is associated with the crown and the ajna, the third chakra that they call the third eye. It's like, well, what if I were to tap into those desires for love, creativity, and awakening and ecstasy, and tap in spiritually? Drinking actually keeps us down. It
lowers our
down.
vibration. Absolutely. So, I love that. I mean, I totally agree, obviously, and I think that mind body connection just can't be denied. And I think it's quite interesting, because it's only now that I realize just how sort of separate, if you like, from my body I was always, trying to get out of my head, as the expression goes. But I would be trying to do that through thinking, trying to think my way out. And actually, I now realize that sometimes, you just have to drop back into the body and let the body take it, and there's just so much truth in our body. Our body knows, right. And you're absolutely right. There's a huge amount that can be accessed just by focusing on your heart. It really can. I've done a little bit of work with heart math. You probably know the work of the Heart Math Institute, but at its most basic level, it's literally placing your hand on your heart and breathing. And just Beautiful. That really brings down anxiety and it's so powerful. So I love that work. It's fantastic. And what about your music? We have to get in a plug for your music. So you've got an album out?
I do. I put out an album called Of the Transformation, sort of a long awaited follow-up to Of the Resurrection. My name means of the resurrection. That's the connection there. But
Anastasia. Anastasia
yes.
means that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I had put that out during the time I was going through chemo. Remember, I said I had a hard time finishing things. Well, when I was faced with, maybe who knows if I'm going to make it? I don't know. I'm planning on it, but I better put this music out now, put the Of the Resurrection out. And then just this year, I went through a lot of personal growth and transformation. I was like, you know what? This one's of the transformation. These songs are about growing and about blossoming and experiencing connections, higher connections. Feeling even one of the songs is about my connection with my ancestors.
Yeah.
I became a lot more aware of them and of my connection with them and how much they love me and influence my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
you need to come to one of our family constellation workshops. We'll have to get you over again.
That would be right up my alley. Yeah.
Fantastic. So tell us about a little bit about how you found the sober coach training then. We were so impressed that you came over.
Well, it was so funny, Janey. I have to tell you, somebody asked me, this is again another message. A lot of my stuff comes from LinkedIn because I got a message through LinkedIn where somebody asked me if I could coach them in sobriety. And as cool as I thought it was that, I really want to help. And I helped out every way I could. I didn't feel comfortable asking for money, and setting it up as this professional thing because I didn't have certification and I just feel wary. The US is very litigious and I've been in these and crazy, anyway, I was just wary. I didn't want to lead anybody astray without all the tools and the knowledge. I wanted to be better equipped to serve. So I started searching, Googling, and I think I just typed in sober coaching and I found your website right away. It popped up right away. And I think the first thing I saw were actually your sober coaches. So I read some of their bios. I saw the sober coaches and I'm like, what is this? What is this connected to? And I stumbled on the info about your training. A lovely testimonial popped right up. And I read that and I saw the woman's picture and I saw your picture. And I was just like really resonated with what you were doing. I was like, this is crazy perfect. This is crazy perfect. This is exactly where my head's at. When is this being offered? And, it's just a few months away. It was pretty far away, but that's okay. That's okay. And then I contacted you and I could have done it virtually, but my husband actually really encouraged me to go in person. He said, you need to go and get the full experience. And
well, there's no doubt there is kind of personal transformation as well, isn't there? It's not just about learning, the coach stuff.
Right. No, it isn't. And with your experience too in the PR, like with the world of PR and your radio personality, long career that you had and the music stuff, I was just, I don't think there could be a better fit for somebody for what I was looking to do and learn. So,
well, it's been amazing. It's been amazing having you part of it. And I really look forward to seeing all the stuff that you do in the future. It's super exciting. It's great. So I suppose the question then is how, how do you juggle everything? So, your mom, you got the kids, you still got, the regular work, you're a musician, you've got the book out, you're going to be coaching. So what's the kind of key to juggling everything, do you think, for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm still figuring it out, to be honest with you. I recently, as of this little Lenten season, as it were, I'm not Catholic, but I am Catholic curious, I guess we could say. And so I've been going to some masses and I have some Catholic friends and I pray the rosary and things like that. And I just happened to show up and like this other Sunday and realize, oh, Lent is coming up. It's this like Ash Wednesday is that week. And as you guys, maybe most of you may know, may not, I don't know. It's common to give up something for Lent. And so in order to spiritually reflect.
Yeah, it's often chocolate in the UK.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I was like, you know what? I'm spending a lot of time on social media. And I do it for my business. I do it and I do it to connect and I do it it's all good. It's just, I was spending a lot of time on there, not only posting, which I really enjoy, but also answering comments and making sure I kept up with everything. And I was on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or not Twitter, but TikTok, Instagram. And it was just getting crazy. It's like, this is a lot. And so I said, let me step back for a minute and take this time to tune in and hear spiritually where I should be putting my focus and how I can come back renewed and maybe just pick one or two platforms instead of trying to do everything. It's hard in this day and age, Janey. And
Yeah,
there's a million things we can do to promote ourselves and expand our business. But if you're trying to do them all, it's just not going to work. And so I'm learning, and I rely a lot on my intuition. Like today, I felt like before I got on here with you, I was like, I need to use my voice. So I got my guitar and I sang a song, and I just like exercise that part of myself. And so I have structure, like I have to-do lists, I have quarterly goals. I do implement structure, but I also listen to my intuition. And if, for example, if we got off this call and my intuition said, you need to go outside and lay down in the grass and take some deep breaths, I would do it.
Yeah, fantastic.
So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And we didn't even get a chance to touch on the whole sort of parenting thing, but I'm guessing you've noticed that it's made you so much more present as a parent, having ditched the booze.
Oh yes. And I would, a fear of mine was always, well, what am I going to do when they get old enough to realize how much mommy drinks?
Yeah. I mean, is there the same kind of pressure in the States with the whole mummy wine thing that we have here in the UK? I mean, in the UK, it's just mad. It's every play date. It's everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, there is, a lot of the moms I know do drink. It's definitely a thing. But I don't feel like I'm so happy like how I am. I could be around that and it just wouldn't bother me because I'm like, I'm good. I got my sparkling water or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I love being with them fully, being with my kids fully and being able to experience them growing up. And I just, I feel like I'm so much better able to interact and just come from a place of authenticity.
Yeah, I love it. Anastasia, thank you so much. I can't wait to see all the wonderful magic that you create in all the different ways. I notice you refer to yourself as a sobriety enthusiast. I love that. I'm that too, right?
Yes. It's
fantastic.
It's happy.
So just tell us where we can, what's the best website or the best contact to just to get hold of you and to be able to get the book.
Yeah, the easiest thing would be to go to anastasiaforrest.com. That's my personal hub for music, writing, all of that. Yeah.
Great. We'll pop that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much. And we'll connect very soon in our coaches group. All the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Janey.
So we'll put the link to Anastasia's work in the show notes. Don't forget, if it resonates with you, that you'd like to be thinking about inspiring others and trained to be a sober coach, just drop me a message. I fully appreciate it's not for everyone. But if it is resonating with you and a little voice is saying, do you know what, it's actually, I would like to inspire other people. It's time for me to give back. Then drop me a message. We do have a coach training on the 24th, 25th of March with one space left. Maybe it's got your name on it. And then we have another training at the beginning of June. So it is possible to do it remotely. But anyways, drop me a message if that's for you. Just to mention a few events that we have coming up. Again, I appreciate everyone's not in the UK, but just for those who are, the importance of connection, we can't overestimate it really. So do have a think about coming to some of our events if it resonates with you. We have Family Constellations on April the 15th, which is a Saturday in Hertfordshire. It's an amazing workshop day. The day before that, we've got Heart-Centered Biz Mentoring Day and Constellations. That's for you if you are a coach or an expert or an author. So drop me a message if you're interested in that. And then the weekend after, the 22nd of April, we've got a Sober by the Sea. So that's for absolutely everybody. Doesn't matter what stage you're at. None of these things do. You might be just thinking, I might ditch the booze at some point, or you might have been sober for 10 years. Doesn't matter. It's fine. So come and join us for Sober by the Sea, where we create a vision board. If that's of interest, it'd be great to have you on board. And in the interim period, I'm going to be launching my Tapping into Freedom online workshop, as it were, online course, and we'll start that with a live session. So just keep a check at thesoberclub.com. If you go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, you'll find all the info there of all the stuff that's going on. And of course, it goes without saying, if you want inspiration, if you want connection, if you want huge amount of incredible content and support from experts, then check out the Sober Club. We'd love to have you join us. It's very low cost. It's very high value. There is an amazing connection there. This is not one of those groups that's thousands of people. This is a small, supportive, non-judgmental group, and I'd love to invite you to join us if it resonates with you. If it doesn't and you're doing your own thing, fantastic. It doesn't matter which way you come to this, but tell someone you're doing it. That's important. Tell someone, not necessarily your partner or your friend to start with, but you can tell me. I'll be your cheerleader. And if you want to support this work with the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Janey Lee Grace. I think that's how it works. And of course, if we get a chance to have a real coffee together, I'd absolutely love that. So drop me a message if any of this stuff is of interest, or if you just want to share with me your sober streaks, even if it's only that you've made the decision and you're definitely going to do it. I will cheerlead you. I reply to as many messages as I possibly can. You know how to find me on social media, at Janey Lee Grace, and do check out thesoberclub.com if you haven't already. And thank you again to the Herbtender for their amazing adaptogen well-being supplements. You can find all the information at theherbtender.com. And as I say, we're going to have a competition as well to give some away. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.